Anonymous, the podcast where everyone is welcome at the table, but of course, no one knows whose turn it is. This is Chris.
Hey, and this is Anthony.
And this is episode 547, Top 10 Games with Deck Building. We'd like to thank all our patrons for helping us unlock a brand new episode. Anthony, back once again, and we're back with an oldie, but a goodie. Something that we don't talk about much anymore, but back in the day, it was all the rage. Deck building.
It was all the rage. Yeah, we did an episode back 155,
Whoa.
which was 2017, I believe. And in that episode, we went through the top 10 straight up deck builders. And we were like, hey, let's refresh that list. And we realized something.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't a lot of pure deck builders coming out these days.
Yeah.
There's a handful here and there. But most of the time, deck building is a mechanic within other games.
Now it is,
And
yeah.
maybe it's a primary mechanic. Maybe it's like paired with another primary mechanic. But we thought, hey, why don't we take that list? We'll remix it. We'll add in all these newer games that use deck building in interesting ways. Maybe bring some of the old ones in that are still all-timers and
Sure.
really work. And we'll make a new list. So this is not the top 10 deck builder games. You can check that out in episode 155. And I honestly, looking at that list, I stand by it. I think it's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
Very
some good
nice.
games in there.
There's
Like, there's
some
no
very
games in there where I was like, I don't know, not anymore. They're all pretty solid.
Yeah.
But now we have a bunch of new stuff that uses deck building in interesting, creative, unique, different ways.
Sure.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think looking back and us being around as long as we have, again, once upon a time where all of these different game companies were independent and Dominion came out and they were just like, deck building. And people were like, whoa.
Ooh.
And then everyone was like, hey, can we use that mechanic? And of course you can, because mechanics are not, you can't trademark them.
Yeah.
And everyone and their mother had a deck building game. Like, whatever IP you could think of had a deck builder. So, yeah, they did all of those. I have several of them.
I was about to say, we could do a top 10 of just those.
Just those, yeah.
We won't because they're all the same, but...
Yes, they are very much the same. Yes, 100% the same. But again, that was the thing. More than really any other game mechanic out there, it was very much deck building was the cool hip kid that everyone wanted to hang out with.
Right.
And I think it was really cool for publishers back in the day because that just gave board gaming one of those opportunities to produce almost endless kind of expansions, like what Dominion had done, or at least seemingly like that you could do that. And that was something radically different because back in the day you did have CCGs, but deck builders was a different animal altogether.
Yeah. I don't know why I was looking at this the other day, but Marvel Legendary is still releasing expansions.
It's crazy.
They're up to like 50, I think.
Someone out there
expansions?
right now, Anthony, somewhere out there in the universe, someone's still sleeving their Marvel Legendary. They haven't stopped.
I can't imagine. With 50 expansions, let's say they all have like 50, 60 cards. We're talking about like 3,000 or 4,000 cards in this game. That's bananas.
Yeah, like you and I have dabbled with the CCGs, but like going to board game stores and just seeing like that one guy in the back corner with his huge legendary kit or multiple legendaries and just sleeve like sleeve and just like very depressed about it because these cards are not like expensive or rares or anything. Like they come in the game box, but once you start sleeving, there's no going back, man. You gotta sleeve everything.
Yeah. It's a deck builder. Every card needs to be sleeved. You can't
does.
only do some of them. You gotta do all of them.
They take a lot of abuse when you deck build. So
yeah.
So that'll be our feature review. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And I think it's a fun little list to kind of get into. But Anthony, before we get into all the fun of deck building, we have a little bit of, how would you say, a game conference that we've been building up as well for many months now. And we've been talking about it. And again, you know what, people? This is the last time we'll be talking about it.
That's not, though, because next week we're going to recap it.
Yes, I was going to just get to that. I was going to say, last time we'll preview it. Next time we'll review it for everybody out there. I know a lot of you will be coming and attending, and always glad to have you all join us at the table. Anthony, give us the last little preview about this little tiny conference that is going to do so much good in the industry.
Yeah, we're obviously we're very excited. We've been talking about it for 5 months, but Board Game Academics Conference is this weekend. Yes, it's happening, folks. It's finally happening.
Rochester, New York.
We're doing it.
Sunday, and Saturday.
Yeah. So yeah, we have over a dozen presentations, almost 24 presentations on the use of board games, tabletop games, RPGs in a wide swath of different areas. So some people talk about using them in the classroom, others in like therapy, others in research and how it can be utilized in different ways. Some talking about it from a business perspective. So like exploring the use and study and appreciation of games in an academic, professional, and practitioner sense. Like so many interesting, unique things. But also we're having people like demoing the games that they've produced that are kind of representative of these different ideas and what they can do. We're having wonderful panels. We have Eric Zimmerman from NYU Game Center, designer of Quantum. You played it. He's going to be giving our keynote address on Saturday, and it's going to be amazing. We're really excited about it. This is the biggest show we've put on yet, conference wise. It's our third year doing it, and it's like every year just like significantly bigger. More happening. And if you can't make it, we will have conference proceedings in the future. And the way we're doing that now is we're running them through boardgameacademics.com, our new membership.
Ooh.
So you can sign up as a member. It is currently free through the end of the year or sometime around then. And you'll have access to some of those conference proceedings, whatever we're able to record, and we'll be posting there. And you can see the old conference proceedings from last year and the year before as well. So if you weren't able to make it for whatever reason, you're like, I really want to see these, or that one presentation sounds really interesting, or I want to see what Eric's doing. Check it out. boardgameacademics.com. You can join. There's a big old join button in the top right of the site. Click on that and you can hop in there and you'll get access to all these cool things.
Yeah. If you look, again, at the end of the day, we want to have as many people at the table as possible. And we have done 12 years of podcasting across multiple different podcasts that Anthony and I have run over the years. And it's always about more people, new experiences at the table. And you got, at least with this podcast, we just talked about this a second ago, got 547 episodes of just people telling you, get games, get them to the table, play the games. They're awesome. These conferences and the stuff we're doing in Board Game Academic, you don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to be an academic. These are gamers just like you that took games and did other really cool things with it. So the games that you're on the shelves are actually doing a lot of cool things out there in the world. And yet another great reason to talk to people about tabletop games and maybe get more people to the table. And again, that's really what we're all about.
So, it'll be fun.
Yeah, as much accessibility and inclusion that we can put onto the table to bring more people in, all the better, all day long. And again, thank you all so very much. As Anthony mentioned, you can jump on to boardgameacademics.com, join the membership there. That's a limited time open free membership. Please do so sooner than later so that you can take advantage of all the great stuff that's there, support gamers out there in the particular industry. And if you're coming to the conference, we're looking forward to see you at the Strong National Museum of Games and Toys and Play and all that fun stuff. But also for everybody out there who couldn't come but did support us, did cheer for us, did share links and images and all the stuff for the conference and everything, thank you so very much. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the presenters there, because this conference is there for the presenters. Anthony and I are just there to go, look at these awesome people. They're doing a thing. And then we're going to shut up for the complete conference. Right? We're not saying much of anything at the conference, right?
No, we're letting all of our presenters speak. That's the whole point. Yeah.
We go up there, we say hi to everybody, and then we say goodbye to everybody. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's our role.
If you watch those recordings, you'll see me pop my head in repeatedly as just moving things around, but I'm not saying much.
No, he's not. So you'll hear more about us on this podcast. But if you want to hear more about all the great gamers out there, again, check out the conference, check out the proceedings. And again, there's more stuff to come. And we have some really cool stuff coming up in the future. So I can't wait to tell you more about that. And it's going to be coming out pretty soon. Cool. All right, Anthony. So that's everything that's going on with the BGA out there in the world. Thank goodness nothing else is happening in the world. And also nothing else is happening in tabletop gaming.
I'm going to leave it at that.
All right,
Makes me,
cool.
I like what you just said, and I want it to be true. So.
Yes. Well, let's skip the world because I think other people have that covered.
And they do.
They're doing such a good job with the world. Good
Oh
job, everybody.
Yeah, it's amazing. I want to give everybody a pat on the back.
Yay! I'm so glad we don't have to talk about that stuff because everything's awesome. But we could talk about the stuff that is not being covered, which is all the crazy tabletop stuff. Anthony, let's start off with some fun stuff, right? There's a little game that you might or might not know about called Magic the Meetup? The Magic the...
Get Together?
Get Together? I like that. Magic the Get Together. MTG. Also known as Magic the Gathering, Anthony.
Oh, that's right. That's what you call it.
That's what some people call it.
Yeah,
They're not in the inside circle, you know?
Yeah, no, that's totally what it is. I want to tell a quick story before we get into this.
Sure.
So my son is he's into simulator games. He's been playing recently like a supermarket simulator, and so he recently found one called TCG Card Shop Simulator, which is a game in which you run a trading card game store. Right, you're buying and selling different cards. So he keeps popping his head in. It's just like the last day or two, being like, Dad, do you know what the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card is? I'm like, no, but I don't really know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, cool. But like, what about Pokemon? I'm like, oh, it's like a Charizard from like when I was a kid that I had, and I'm an idiot and I sold it. Oh. He's like, oh, you had that card? I'm like, don't even get me started, dude. And he's like, what about Magic the Gathering? And I'm like, oh, it's the Black Lotus, but if it's in great condition. And he's like, can you play with it? I'm like, no. It's like going down this rabbit hole of Magic, which he's never played.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why do I know so much about this game that I have not played consistently since I was 13 years old? It's just part of not just the hobby, but like just nerd culture, the zeitgeist, everything. Like I could just ask a random student in one of my classes and they'd probably know what it is, and probably 10% of the kids in the room would know the rules, right?
It's part of the zeitgeist. It's deck building at the CCG level.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's funny because it's we have these stories pop up. We talk about the new cards coming out for Magic, and it pops up in weird different ways all the time.
Dude, you get to be the cool dad.
Yeah, I know that Black Lotus is the most expensive card. The thing is he knows that too, because we were at a convention last fall and they had a copy. There was a booth there that had a copy like under lock and key, and I was like, look, the Black Lotus. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking. He was not interested. I'm like, that card is worth like $1 million. I was like, can I take a picture with the card? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, come on. With the card, Jack, it's $1 million.
Was it graded?
It was a 9.
Oh, a 9.
It was a very, very expensive probably card.
Yeah, I can imagine a 9. Jeez.
Yeah. So, anywho, new Magic cards that are not worth $1 million yet.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
Speculators, I'm sure, are already out there.
Right? So, this was like what Wizards did, like a reveal show or something.
Yeah.
So
they rolled out a lot of product because Wizards of the Coast is... I don't know how to explain Wizards of the Coast. Is there a way to explain Wizards of the Coast?
I mean, it's like 70% of Hasbro's revenue. So they're like their own little thing, but they're also not. Because if they're not they're like the Marvel of Hasbro. Yeah. They have to make money for that company to exist. So.
And they're really holding up the whole store. And a lot of it typically is just almost chaotic neutral as far as their choices are concerned.
Yeah.
So I don't always know if, they know what they're doing, but again, they've been moving a lot of things. I think that's fair to say that they've been making a lot of moves.
Yeah. They release a lot of card sets now. There's a new one every 2 months, I think, at this point, and then that's not including like Secret Lair stuff. So there's like new cards out every weekend, essentially, all year.
And if you want more detailed information about the top 10 Magic the Gathering universes and beyond, we actually did an episode about that on episode 522.
Right.
We talked, obviously, about the big one, which was the Lord of the Rings, the One Ring card, which went for like, what, 2.5, 3 million, 3.5, something
crazy,
like that? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and we'd have to update it now because there's already new sets. And
I know.
The Lord of the Rings set made a lot of money. The Final Fantasy set that came out this year dwarfed it. Made the most
Yes.
money of any Magic set in history by a lot.
I don't know, man.
So-
We did an episode on it, and look, it just blew up, man. They were like,
I know,
those
they know.
guys,
People
that
knew.
podcast, they got something there. They know
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I got a couple Final Fantasy cards, but not many. I wanted to get more because I'm a fan of the series.
Mm-hmm.
You just couldn't find them. Everything was marked up 200, 300%. I'm like,
Lots of
okey-doke.
speculators.
Yeah, I guess I'm out. But
I mean, this is we can go, this is a deep hole, right? With
Yeah.
even like sports betting, which is now such a big thing, and all the speculator markets and apps out there where you can basically wager, bet, and again, people just buying sets just to buy sets to be able to flip sets, or even you could take a look at Ticketmaster and Live Studio and stuff like that, where they're just buying seats to mark them up and sell them to scalpers and then just drive up the prices of everything. So,
right.
Again, this was for me and Anthony, and I think for a lot of you out there who listen to the podcast, of course, like, while Magic the Gathering and a lot of these CCGs are just utterly amazing, like there's no question about it. Like, the amount of brilliance from Richard Garfield and so many of the other people, the artistry, again, there's just like endless numbers of geniuses here. You get priced out of the markets, like you just do. And tabletop games was like the last vestige of like, I could still play something on a tabletop and afford to do it. So,
Right, yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about the deck building ones here, but again, Wizards of the Coast obviously makes a lot of sense to bring out all these new IPs because people like IPs, brings new people into the hobby. But again, it's kind of sad. I don't know. It's just sad that like you can't enjoy it for the enjoyment factor.
It's a weird thing, right? Because like I love the Lord of the Rings set. I bought a lot of those. I bought some of the Final Fantasy set. I love the cards, beautiful cards,
gorgeous.
But at the same time, I feel weirdly cynical about it. It's the same thing as like my son will get me down. I'm like, let's play Fortnite, and I'll play Fortnite. I'm like, that was fun. I got to shoot things as Goku. Sweet. I got to be Raphael and like fling around it. But then I back out of that for like 20 minutes. I'm like, that's gross. I feel gross now. The fact so it's like you can have both at the same time. Like, this is fun and cool it exists, but also gross that it exists.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people feel that way with like these Magic sets of like, ugh, but also I'm gonna buy it. But ugh.
It's weird because again, and I think typically when we talk about like purity of like a hobby or a specific genre or a thing like that, like it's usually very bad. But again, people within that specific genre, like, they love and enjoy it because it is that little world, that realm that they inhabit. And then people who do like the lore, now you're going to have random superheroes along with, people from, again, it just doesn't make a lot of sense eventually. It doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't.
And it used to be that these cards weren't like standard playable, but now they are. A lot of them are. Not all of them, but like Final Fantasy cards generally are. I think the Spider-Man cards are. Spider-Man just came out like last weekend.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, now you get these weird Fortnite decks, right?
Yeah. It's, again, there's pros and cons. It's good that other people can play the thing with their kind of version of their thing.
Right.
Most of the cards are not thematic whatsoever. So it gives you plus this and plus that, but it doesn't really, not thematic in any kind of really important way. It's like when you play Marvel Snap. And it's just like, oh, I love that character. Oh, he gives me +2 to my other guys. I'm like, all right, I guess.
Sure,
like,
why not?
But again, I think also Disney with Star Wars kind of really stretched the IP to the point of just like, you sell it on everything. It's just,
I mean, that was always, Disney definitely took it to a new level, but that was like always. Star Wars started it all 50 years ago. Like, and we're just living in Star Wars world now.
Yeah, like when you have like, I can't remember what specifically the game was, but I remember there was a video game where it was Star Wars and it was a dancing game, and like Han Solo's dancing and Darth Vader and
that was the jump the shark moment. Yeah, like the Xbox Connect Star Wars or something. Yeah,
it was just so goofy. It was just like incredibly goofy. And again,
that was pre-Disney, by the way. That was not Disney. That was
no. But I agree with you that it happened before that. But I remember like now you see like a lot of past shows of Disney in the Disney park before Disney had bought Star Wars, but they were doing shows. So you had like Darth Vader breakdancing or something like that, and you're just like, like, oh, cool, that's my favorite fascist, and he's breakdancing. He murdered a bunch of younglings. I don't know, sure.
Yeah.
Fun, right?
Capitalism's weird, y'all. It's not even it's bad. It's just weird. I feel weird. That's the thing, though. That's the thing that ends up happening. It's like I'm enjoying this and feeling weird about it, and that's like my general state of being most days of my life. Of like, this show is fun, but also,
yeah.
But if I don't think about it, I'm having fun. So
So Magic the Gathering has a whole bunch of new sets that are coming out that you were mentioning, Anthony. Obviously, Spider-Man being one of them.
Yep, Spider-Man just came out. That was the big one. That was a full play set. You can buy those now. They're not sold out yet, I don't think. And they just announced a bunch of new stuff. So there's new Final Fantasy stuff coming at the end of the year. So maybe they'll get a restock on those. The Chocobo bundle, which is like the big new thing, is already sold out everywhere. So good luck with that. But they also have the and these are some of my favorite things. It's these scene boxes. They did this for Lord of the Rings, where you get a set of 6 cards, and if you align them right, it creates a scene. But the cards are all playable too, and you have 2 sides, 2 different types of cards, one with the text and one without. So you can kind of layer it out. And so, like, I have one of like Aragorn fighting some stuff, and it's the beautiful artwork of Magic the Gathering. You can put it on display, you could frame it. It also comes with some play boosters, and they're generally not crazy expensive. So they have those for like the first game, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 8, and Final Fantasy 15. Those are cool. Check those out. Stuff for next year that they announced. This is where it gets a little crazy. And so they have their own regular sets that are coming. I think there's 3 of them, which has always been the case. They have 3 sets per year. But the Universes Beyond, which is what we care about. That's all we care about.
That's all we care about.
There's a set that has not been announced yet. That's coming out early in the year. That they think will be announced in Comic-Con in October, so New York Comic-Con. There's a Magic Nickelodeon panel at the convention, so people are thinking maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, maybe more SpongeBob, something in between. I think Ninja Turtles makes the most sense if you're doing a full set.
They did. Cool. There is something out there about SpongeBob. I know that.
There's been some SpongeBob cards. They do a secret layer thing where they release like little sets of like 5 to 10 cards that you can purchase. Where you know what you're getting, but they're very expensive. And they did a SpongeBob set earlier this year.
Is that also there to test the market a little bit for that too?
I think so, because that's how all this started. Like they did like Transformers and Warhammer stuff, whatever, 4 or 5 years ago, and then they're like, people buy these. Walking Dead, people bought that. What about Fallout? Hey, people bought that. Okay, let's do Lord of the Rings. Okay, everybody bought that. So now this is all we do now. The big one next year, maybe because people are weird about this stuff these days, is Marvel Superheroes. Comes out in June. This June is kind of their sweet spot where they've done the big releases. This is when Lord of the Rings came out. It's when Final Fantasy came out. So I think they think this is their big set. We'll see. I don't know. Like, people are weird right now with superhero stuff. I think like the 17 years now we've been producing superhero content, I think people are a little burned out. But
it's true.
We'll see. And then The Hobbit, which I'm excited about because the Lord of the Rings set was very good. And if they can stick to the tone of the book and not pull a Peter Jackson and go all weird and gothic and dark with it, this will be fun and like a cutesy fun thing, which I know they're capable of because they just did like the little, woodland creature set. I forgot what it was called, but like the Redwall inspired stuff. So this could be fun. So we get more Tolkien stuff.
Do you think they'll do another One Ring?
I don't know, because the One Ring doesn't. I mean, I know it's in there.
It's in
obviously. That's how Bilbo gets it, but it's not like the focus.
No,
but then they could do that again, right?
Yeah. I mean, the number of times a game company's been like, "This is the thing. This is it. This is how we're selling it. This is what it's going to look like. It's one of a kind." Period. And then a couple years later, they're like, "Oh, and also this."
Yeah, but it's different because it's the One Ring from 75 years earlier. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. And you see someone crying. Just like,
I had this card. Now there's 2 of them.
That's right.
And then the other big IP set, I thought of you, of course, Chris, is the Star Trek set coming in November next year.
That's a thing. Please stop doing this. I don't want to buy this.
I'm actually very excited for this because there's never been like a good. There's been a couple Star Trek CCGs. I've bought a lot of stuff from them. They weren't very good. I did not like the Decipher one. Not great. I forgot the company made the other one. I think maybe Wizards made the other one. But but Star Trek, it's ripe for this. There's so
Yes.
many good characters. You have the ships. You
Yeah.
have all these locations. Think of all the land cards we could have.
And it seems like they have all the different series. It's not just one particular series. It looks like they're spanning a bunch of them.
Right, and that's Magic's thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
within the same set, you can have wildly different art styles and
Yeah.
settings. Like, it doesn't all have to match. Some could be goofy, some could be serious. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah, original series, next gen, stuff like that
Yep.
too.
Yeah, so that's all next year. We don't know what the surprise one is yet. They did the Avatar: The Last Airbender before.
Yeah.
So that was like the other Nickelodeon thing they did. So we'll see. Maybe it's just more of that, like the Korra or something. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't played Magic in years. I do buy it occasionally when the IP's fun. I'll probably buy some Hobbit cards. But.
Sure. And then we have a couple of weird secret lair drops too.
Right. Yeah, Secret Lair is, we mentioned kind of the backfill, I guess is what you'd call it.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, we want to try this IP, but we don't have we're not going to do a full set. Developing a whole set is very expensive and time consuming. So, they dump all these, and this is where you get really weird stuff, right?
It's true.
So you get like these, I don't even know what these are, like the Furby things.
There's
monster
normal
Furbies?
there's normal Furbies, and there's monster Furbies, like grotesque body horror monster Furbies, which is a thing that I came across a couple of years ago and was very worried for our civilization that was a thing. But it's a thing. But I try to disavow knowledge of it in order to sleep at night because they're scary.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I don't know.
It's weird.
We've got Dwight from The Office.
Yeah, this was the one that it was just, when it first came out, I thought it was a joke. I thought this was someone threw some AI together, put it together, and Secret Lair, The Office, and specifically Dwight Schrute, assistant to the regional manager. Mm-hmm. And it's him in all his different forms in this kind of fantasy setting, but again, using his different, I don't even know how would you even classify, like his different elements or genres of his character or parts in the episode, but then taken to a fantasy level. Like, he's a beet farmer, but now he's like super big and strong, like Paul Bunyan, and like, you know, it's out there. It's cool. I don't know. Like, this might be a big hit. Like, I don't know.
Right. And it's not even just one. Like, it's it's a
bunch of cards from it, and again, it's really strange and hilarious at the same time. So it's a couple of different things that are happening. I think the other one that really kind of stood out here, I mean, there's two of them really. Iron Maiden, which Eddie from Iron Maiden, right, is very demonic kind of creature thing. So that kind of makes sense. But then Jaws, the movie Jaws, has its own set too. So
we're also getting a bunch of PlayStation specific Secret Lair drops. So like The Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima is each getting a Secret Lair drop. Cool, I guess. I mean, I think Kratos actually fits perfectly in Magic the Gathering.
Sure.
Some of these like The Last of Us, I don't know. What's your special power? I crawl under a car really good. Can hide in the mud.
Well, it's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we make fun. I don't know. Some of these cards are for but like, there's people out there for all these cards.
Yeah, I mean, again, given the right situation, I'd pick up the Dwight cards, but
that'd be funny just to have.
Just be funny to have. I don't, and again, like put them in a frame or something like that, because again, I think that's one of those things that's kind of unbelievable. But I also don't know what the market value is going to be when you have to pick those things up, because
that's true.
Just like, it could be nothing. It could be throwaway. Like the hobby, like Magic the Gathering fans or the Office people may not be, that Venn diagram may not exist, and they might just go for cost, or they might be like quadruple the price for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the last thing, Anthony, at least across the world, as far as gaming is concerned, is EA Sports. They're known for lots of things, man.
Yeah, EA Games has been around for a long time. They made a lot of great stuff. A lot of games that we like.
Mm-hmm. They ate a lot of companies.
They ate a lot of companies, and then they closed most of those companies, because that's what you do.
Yep.
And really, all they're known for now is the sports games
Yes.
and Battlefield and the occasional Star Wars game.
Yep. Which
So
they can't. They've done really bad stuff with the Star Wars games, man.
the Jedi Knight games, the newer ones, are good. That all the other stuff is bad.
The Battlefront games, like when the original 2 Battlefront games that came out, were legendary, especially the second one. And then when they released theirs, not so much.
No, because they were just like re messing with like Battlefield, which
And
is
then and it was all microtransactions to do or get anything whatsoever.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, obviously one of the biggest game companies in the world, because if you have Madden and you have FIFA, which I think now is like EAFC or something, they lost the FIFA license, but those 2 things alone are enough to make billions of dollars every year.
Yeah.
And then, they also have a bunch of other licenses around that. They are one of the largest game companies in the world, and they just made a private sale. So it was a public company with shareholders. They've been bought out by private equity, and the investment fund of the Saudi Arabia, which already owned like a 10% stake in the company, which I did not realize, but now has a larger stake, along with a private equity fund run by, what's his name? Trump's son-in-law.
Yes. Kushner.
There you go.
Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner, and then a third-party fund. $55 billion.
$55 billion, almost as much as a Magic card set goes for these days.
Right, yeah, half a dozen Black Lotuses. You get those in there.
Not even.
It's crazy, man. And obviously it's not tabletop, but it's just crazy that anything in the game sphere could be worth that kind of money.
I mean, we are.
Well, okay, I'll take my offer.
Well, we have to see if the Saudis are interested in purchasing us.
I'm not taking their money, but
no. We did get an offer. We rejected it. Yeah, it was for more than 55. That's why they had to pick up EA after us.
Oh, right.
Okay. We were like, we're going to pass, and they're like, all right, I guess we have to do EA, and they were sad about it, and I felt bad, to be honest.
You shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah. Well, they were very sad, but yeah, that's a thing that happened, and we shall see what we will see in the future. But it, again, gaming, especially video gaming too, is such now a big part of the zeitgeist. Like, I mean, video gaming is bigger than movies.
Yeah.
And, esports is bigger than the Super Bowl in most cases, depending on the esports specifically. But it's a different world. I mean, we grew up with video games and stuff like that, and we're just like, oh, that's a thing that a couple of random nerds do, and that's not really a thing, society-wise or anything. And like, no, it's the biggest thing in the world. It's a thing we all do now. It's how we live our lives, and it's captivating. It's the artistry and the technology and everything is just incredible, and it's only getting better. And again, with EA, how they kind of picked up so many companies, and there's less and less independence, and there's bigger conglomerates, just like in the movie industry and a lot of other industries out there too. So, I mean, $55 billion, that's significant.
So much money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in video games, like more than almost any other industry, more than any other entertainment industry.
I gotta believe that. Yeah. I mean, once Grand Theft Auto comes out, and that development of that game is somewhat crazy as far as numbers are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, they expect that game to make $1 billion on the first day.
Yeah.
So,
well, there you go, man.
Nothing else can match that. Like,
you mean like an opening of a movie that makes $20 million is not?
Yeah, not even close. Endgame, which made like $450 million in its opening weekend, like still doesn't match what GTA 6 is going to do. No, it's crazy, and so it makes sense as an investment, but at the same time, it's unfortunate when these things go private, because you lose whatever kind of oversight you might have. Sure. And then who are the private investors who are taking control of that? And also, how many people are going to lose their jobs?
Oh, always.
Because, that's what tends to happen next. They have 10,000 employees. How many of those people are going to stick around? And are they going to continue producing these things that don't make money? Because at this point, EA makes money from like 4 things.
Yeah, and that's usually when the big company swallows up a lot of the little companies. You lose a lot of those little games that are great, and that's also happened with the tabletop industry too, of course. But it's a shame. We lose a lot, and again, the games themselves change a lot too. Like we talked about EA Sports with the Battlefront game. Like Battlefront 1 and 2 is just amazing. Just great games, especially the second one. And then they took it over, and then it was just microtransactions and stuff like that. And just limited, just made ugly gameplay. But again, their agenda is different than at least the original 2 games, which was also to make money, but with somewhat of a different mentality to it.
Right.
So we'll see how this kind of affects everything moving forward and what messages are coming through these games and these different companies moving forward.
Yep.
All right, everybody. There you go. What's going on in the world and the only things that are going on in the world. Anthony, let's get on to the episode. Let's roll some dice and see what comes up. Let's roll for preview.
All right. Roll for preview. I got 2 things here I want to talk about. One is up on GameFound right now. The other one is just like briefly announced, and we don't know much about it yet. So I'll start there.
Are they either one of them worth $55 billion?
I wish.
There you go. Could happen.
Yeah. This first one I'll talk about will probably make a lot of money, but
sure,
maybe not quite that much. Slay the Spire, the board game, came out last year.
Good game.
One of my favorite games of the year. Yeah, I just played it a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, this is still awesome.
Just double checking.
Yeah. And we've been talking about this, like, will this game get an expansion? Probably, because there's an expansion coming for the video game later this year, early next year. And it turns out there is already a fan expansion that's fairly popular for Slay the Spire, which I wasn't aware of, called Downfall. Downfall has you playing as the bad guys, trying to take down Meow. So this is the board game expansion, Slay the Spire, the board game Downfall. It's going to be on Kickstarter sometime soon. They put up the preview page a couple days ago.
Coming soon.
And you are building a deck based on the Slime Boss, Guardian, Hexaghost, or the Hermit.
Love it.
And working to take down Meow. So we get new heroes that are the bad guys.
Love it.
That was fun.
Yeah.
They're also, of course, reprinting all of the other stuff. So if you didn't get the fancy upgrades and all the stuff that you wanted the first time around from the Kickstarter, that stuff will be available. And who knows what else they'll throw in there. I don't know. They'll have promos or other, bonus content or expansions. This confirms for me, and I don't know how big of an expansion this will be. Hopefully big. But it confirms for me we'll almost certainly get a Slay the Spire 2.
Yes.
Which is great. This is, again, one of my favorite games from last year. It's a fantastic just cooperative recreation of the video game, which is by itself a brilliant game. And putting it on the tabletop, it's just obviously, like, you say it, like, of course that makes sense, but like it easily could have not made sense. Because you had to make so many adjustments to the core gameplay.
Yes.
That game has a lot of tracking. It has a lot of big numbers. It has a lot of status effects.
Yes.
How do you turn all that into tabletop components that are easy to keep track of? Like, oh, your health goes up to 9. That's it.
Yes.
The enemies, their health goes up to like 8 or 9, and then the bosses maybe goes up to like 80. Like, nothing's too crazy. You have to like scale it, and it works out that way. So, expansion content, awesome. Love it. Want more of it. Haven't finished all the achievements yet in the base box, so this will maybe encourage me to do that before this comes out next year. But haven't backed a lot of stuff on Kickstarter this year, but this will definitely be on the list.
Yeah, if you do have the Steam version of Slay the Spire, the Downfall, the fan expansion is free. If you want to check that out.
Ooh,
it's fun.
Yeah, I'll have to try that. I didn't know it existed until I saw this, so I have to try that out.
That's what we're all about, man. You can listen to this podcast, man. We cover everything that happened. I just covered everything that happened in the world of newsworthy thing, and we're done.
Yeah.
We did
38
it.
minutes in. We did it all.
Jeez. Yeah. We're that good.
All right. We are that good.
$55 billion worth?
Yeah. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was thinking for a second, but yes, 100%.
Yes.
Maybe more. All right. The other game, and this is a little bit older one, but we got a new version here, is Dogs of War. This is on GameFound. It's from Play to Z, and it is a shut up and sit down special promotion, whatever they're calling this. They put their seal of approval on it, right?
It got a pair.
As Shut Up and Sit Down presents.
Yeah.
And Play to Z is, of course, the new company launched by Zev, formerly of Z-Man Games. And formerly also of WizKids. And this is a game that came out, I want to say 10 years ago. I don't have that in front of me, but it's from Paolo Mori. And it was Simon did an edition of this game, so you can imagine what that looked like. But it was before Simon became Simon, right? It was back in the Cool Mini or Not days.
Sure.
So a lot of the content in that edition is literally impossible to find without spending a lot of money, because they didn't print that many copies of the game, because they didn't sell that many copies of the game, and it's not the kind of game that they would do anymore once they got into like the Arcadia quests and the Marvel Uniteds and the Zombie sides and all that. So this is a game in which you play as these different nobles from these feuding houses, and you yourself are a dog of war, meaning that you will go out and engage in these different battles, betray people, seize glory. Basically, you have kind of like this worker placement area control element where you're putting these different valued pieces that you have out onto the board and trying to take control and push them in certain directions. The result of that is you get these various different bonuses. You have these different ways that you interact with the board. You have tactics cards that can influence all of these things. So even if you think you're winning in a spot, you maybe aren't, because it depends what other cards people are playing. It's a very engaging, highly interactive Euro with a lot of tug-of-war elements. I was never really that intrigued by it, because I don't like that style of Simon artwork, where it's just kind of over-the-top, almost grotesque, European style. And I had a friend, though, back in Pittsburgh who was like all about it and forced us to play a few times. So I was like, actually, this game's really good. So I'm glad. Thank you, Michael. And the result of that is that when this popped up, I was like, oh, snap. We get like the full edition of Dogs of War for $50. That's awesome, because that game, like, I played it several times. I had a lot of fun with it. I have never thought to go purchase it because I didn't want to deal with trying to track down all the stuff for it. Maybe you can find a copy of the base game, but there weren't that many of them out there. So $50 is great. The artwork upgrades look awesome. Everything's like wood pieces now, so you don't have to worry about like the kind of fugly looking Simon miniatures, which again I don't like. Like, it's similar like their Council of Four miniatures, just not great looking. And they have like these house support cards, which they have the kind of old style illustration, illuminated seals and shield tokens, but they're kind of cartoony as well. So like you got like the curled up dragon, and there's a lion, there's like a kraken and a unicorn, but they're not taking themselves too seriously, but they're also not too cartoony. Like, I encourage you to go look at it. I think it's a good balance of the two. So they have made some tweaks to the game. It is shorter. It used to be 4 rounds, now it's 3. So it kind of, I don't feel like the 4 rounds was too much, but at the same time I can see how 3 would be nicer, because it just really shortens and like forces you to think more strategically about that final round, which is interesting. There's new factions, which is great, because each of the factions is a little bit different, a little bit asymmetrical. There's now an option where you can have really big swings in victory points, which some people maybe won't like, but I think it's a really cool way. Like, the game's not super long, and it's kind of fun to set up these really complex motions and movements. And if you can pull it off, it's like this huge swing. Can be very fun. And then like they've revised like the player powers and stuff just to make sure they're all balanced. So I have been simmering and hovering around whether I want to back this or not. I really do like it quite a bit. I like the new look, and I like the tweaks that they're making. And I think it's a good price. So it's on GameFound now. It's up for another week or so once you hear this. So check it out if you're interested. But shut up and sit down, picked a good one. I think this is a really fun, interesting game. It's been out of the limelight. It did not get a lot of anything in the past. It's hard to find. So good pick.
Very cool. It's good to see the oldies come back in a new sheen.
Yeah, and like the actual oldies too. Like, I feel like the Dice Tower was doing that for a little while with the Essentials, and then they started just like, this game, and you're like, I know that game. What are you doing?
That's a thing. Of course it is. We all knew that was a thing.
We all heard of that. That's a new game. What are you talking about?
That's true. All right. Well, that's all the stuff that's happening out there in the world. Again, that's all that's happening in the world. Whew. Anthony, the only other thing that's happening in the world is some people out there, I don't know who, but some people out there are playing tabletop games, Anthony. You, my friend, are one of them. What did you play this week for your roll for review?
All right. So I'm going to talk about an old game.
Just like Tom did?
Tom did it. Yes. And
Aw.
we're going to talk about an old game that is coming out with a new version here in the next few months. But also talk about the expansion for that, which was hard to find for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Energy Empire. Full
I
title, Manhattan Project Energy Empire.
Yes, it's a mouthful.
Yeah. And they kept that for the new version, which I think is nice, especially with the relationship that they had with Minion Games. But this is the new publishing. I'm not reviewing the new version. By the way, I should just say that I don't have this yet in hand. I have my old version,
Mm-hmm.
which I still like the artwork of. This new one from Frostbite Games is much flatter and more just simpler in layout. I don't
Sure.
like or dislike it. I haven't played with it yet, but it reminds me of the difference from like Glory to Rome Black Box.
Mm-hmm.
Very flattened out.
Yes.
But Energy Empire, if you don't remember the game, we've talked about it here a bunch. It's in, I think, both of our top 100s. Is a worker placement game in which you are building up the ability to produce energy. You create a tableau of different cards that you pick up throughout the game, and then you produce energy and use that to activate different cards and abilities and generate points. So as you do that, as you produce energy, you also take on pollution, which goes on your personal board, and that affects your ability to score points throughout the game. You also have a specific country that you represent that starts like asymmetric powers, and then there's an event deck that comes into play throughout the game with various crises that kind of escalate as the game goes on. Because what you're doing here is you're emulating the development of an energy empire from early on and kind of developing, basic infrastructure to later on when you're like, crud, we're destroying the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we manage that? And it's one of the interesting things about the game, of course, is that you can balance out things like, okay, it's really easy to get oil or coal. You have to, be able to, for the oil, for example, you have to have drilled for the oil, which you drill on your own board
Mm-hmm.
or trade for it, and then you spend that oil to get the dice, which then will let you produce energy based on the dice. Those dice are also going to have pollution on them. Or you can go the green route and you can get windmills,
Mm-hmm.
and those produce energy, but not nearly as much as some of the more powerful energy
Sure.
of like, the nuclear power, for example.
Yes.
But it has zero chance of pollution.
Yes.
So you balance that out. You can only have so many dice in the game too. So you get up to 5 dice and you're like, well, these are all wind, but they're not powerful enough to get me to like the 9 or 10 energy I need to be able to do my big move this turn. So you have to balance that out. Try not to go crazy with it because you get too much and then it becomes problematic, of course.
Yes.
And it's just like this nice push and pull where you constantly thinking about this thing that is a real world thing, right? But not like in a depressing bad way where it's like, it's not like Daybreak where you're like, the world is destroyed, how do we fix it? Or
Yes.
CO2. You're still building this engine. You're building this engine up and trying to activate everything. And one of the most interesting things about the game is like when you place a worker, if the space is empty, you just put somebody out there. If the space already has someone there, you have to outbid them effectively to be able to go there. So like, all right, I put a worker on this location, lets me take a card. Chris wants to go there. He needs to put a worker and power that up with some energy. So the stack is now 2. I want to go there again. I now need to spend 3. And that's why you need all that energy, right? That you need to produce every round. Because if you want to be able to go to certain spots, especially in lower player count games where it's all blocked off, you need to have that energy in hand. So that's Energy Empire in a nutshell. What I wanted to talk about, because we have reviewed this game a few times in the past, is the Cold War expansion. Now, the Cold War expansion was on Kickstarter a few years ago, and it never got fully fulfilled before the owner of the company sadly passed away. And it kind of floated out there for a while. The game was like almost done. It didn't really make it out. And then eventually it got picked up, I think by Frostbite. And some people got their copies. They're now also selling those older copies. And I was able to get a copy, I think, on eBay. So
Oh, wow.
Before I realized they were doing this new version.
Sure.
And so I have the old version of the Cold War expansion with the old version of my Energy Empire. And I was able to play through that for the first time here recently. And it adds a few cool new things. So there's several different new elements to the game. that they kind of mix in here. The most significant of those is the Doomsday Clock, right? This is the like the whole sideboard that adds to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my least favorite thing because
Sure.
I played it like a smaller player count. I think it probably is much more interesting at a higher player count. But it effectively it gives you a new place to go for an action. You can go there, you can move the dial up, you have to pay the cost, of course, but in the act of going there, you then take these miniature cards, and the cards represent different things that you have power within, right? So there's like military and diplomacy and different elements. And at the end of the game, you're going to score those cards based on other factors, based on who has the majority in each of those three areas. So if you go and get cards, you're automatically winning at least two different areas, maybe three, because some cards have two elements to them. Other people now have to go to Doomsday Clock, otherwise you're getting a bunch of points. So
Sure.
they need to cut into your points a little bit. So it becomes kind of like this back and forth racing element, and I think that's cool because it fits with the whole like Cold War element of like, okay, well now we're doing this, so we have to push the clock. If the clock gets to the end, the game ends. Like there's other ways the game ends, but this just adds a new one because hey, we ran out of time on the Doomsday Clock, right? There are now mega structures available as well. So these are available when you meet certain criteria. They have at the bottom, they tell you like when you're allowed to purchase them. So like, oh, you have 2 brown cards and 2 green cards, which will take you a bit of time, right? That's like 4 actions in the game. Or you have, 2 yellow cards and you've moved up the UN track twice. So those are great. They're bigger, they're longer and wider, and they have like different abilities on them. There's espionage cards that lets you kind of take actions that other people have. So you can kind of go and block off one of their available spaces by placing your worker there, or your energy there. New global impact cards, new structure cards, and new nation cards. So the bulk of the new stuff here is definitely fits in around the Doomsday Clock, which I think is interesting at higher player count, less so at lower player count. Everything else kind of adds some variability to the game. There's also a new solo mode, the Clash of Nations solo mode. So there are 2 new decks here, which kind of tell where the worker, the energies are going to go. So it's a lot more robust and engaging. It's more of like an Automa style solo game, whereas the original was more of just like a race against score. And yeah, I think considering all this stuff just comes in the base box when you buy the new version, whenever that comes out, I think it's worth having. I don't know that it's something that I would like if it didn't come in the base box, if you had to buy it separately. I don't know that I would say go buy it. More content for this game is interesting. The Doomsday Clock I would probably only play with 4 people. The mega structures I will always keep in there because it's just a new fun variable, like outside of the regular structures that you purchase. And all the other cards and stuff just add a little more flavor and variability to the game. Like it's not a big expansion. It was never supposed to be a big one. It was like $25 when it was on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It became expensive because it was hard to find.
Yeah.
But it's cool to have. It's not as take that as it sounds, and it just adds a new like wrinkle, I guess, to the flow of the game. Not in a bad way, but not like in a game altering way either. So yeah, keep an eye out for this. And like I know the original stuff's hard to find now, but the new one, I think they said they're shipping to backers here by the end of the year. So hopefully in retail by end of the year, early next year. And it's an amazing game. Regardless of the expansion stuff, it's just an amazing game.
Excellent.
In Manhattan Project Energy Empire.
Very good, very good, very good. If you can get it, buy it, pick it up, play it. It's awesome. Now more than ever, it's a good game to get to the table, teach people about all the different environmental structures and the power that we need and how it impacts the environment and also the different countries that come into play. I love the asymmetry there. A couple little tweaks, little fun stuff in there. So, and again, like you said, it's been on our list forever because it's been an exceptional game above and beyond, which was surprising. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a game I brought into my class before. Not to play because it's too long, but just to show people like this is what you can communicate about with a game.
Yeah, and it's fun. It allows that idea of any of the different technologies, how they can benefit the cost benefit analysis on all those, and also you get to roll dice, which is a lot of fun. I love that.
Lots of dice rolling.
All right, that's our roll for review. Anthony, let's get on to it. Let's do it. Let's talk about our feature review. The feature review this week: the top 10 games with deck building. Now, we talked about this at the start, Anthony. We talked about all the fun stuff that used to be, once upon a time was, but somehow has evolved, transformed into a new form, and we're still getting some serious deck building done, but in some new games in some new ways.
Right? Yeah, so real quick, let's run through our list from 2017, episode 155. These are all amazing deck builders. Most of them are pure deck builders, not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we had number 10, Lewis and Clark. Number 9, Century Spice Road. Number 8, Tyrants of the Underdark. Number 7 was Clank. Number 6, Hardback. Number 5, Trains. Number 4, Legendary Encounters, Alien. Number 3, Ascension. Number 2, Dominion. And number 1, Star Realms, Hero Realms. So some classics of the genre there, like a couple of mixed mechanic games, but a lot of these are pure deck builders.
Gotcha.
So for this year, again, we're doing games with deck building in them, and we'll talk about the deck building elements specifically in those games. I'm going to kick things off with number 10, which is the Quest for El Dorado, a 2017 game from Reiner Knizia that is a deck builder game in which you are building a deck of cards that let you move across this map and through different types of terrain. So it is a racing game that relies on the deck building mechanics. So you're trying to build the most efficient deck possible that will allow you to move through a variety of different terrains as quickly as you can, while also having the currency necessary to purchase the things you need later as the terrain gets more difficult. The game has a lot of different map styles and layouts. There's a couple of expansions that add in new different types of cards, but at the end of the day, like, it's all about finding that most efficient path through.
Mm-hmm.
There are some questionable cards, as is the case with any game set in the late 19th century, early 20th century, by a European. But for the most part, the game is an interesting way to think about building a deck, in the sense that each card needs to do a thing, and you need to get it at a time when you need it to do that thing. So that's number 10, the Quest for El Dorado.
Number 9 is a classic, going way back to 2010, although it's had multiple iterations and updates and expansions. It was, I guess, the brother/sister to Dominion way back in the day. This is Ascension, the deck building game. Now, I remember playing this way back when, long before, tabletop gaming obviously was like as exploded, right? Ascension was Dominion, and Ascension were like the games that were just like, oh, this is a real thing. And Ascension was unique because it crossed that kind of interesting genre, because basically it's a 2-player game, and you start off with, again, just very simple kind of mechanics. You have your purchase mechanic, but you also have an attack mechanic. And then you have a market row of cards. There's monsters there, which you can attack based upon the cards you have and the damage you can do. But also you could build up your deck with more powerful cards to do more damage to monsters, but also to be able to have more purchase power. So monsters go to the discard, they go to the void. And what was really interesting and unique about this, beyond the artwork, which is also very cool and different and had its own unique aesthetic that I still like a lot. I actually played this game not too long ago on my phone, and I was just like, oh, Ascension, I remember that game. I will play that. Because again, very quick, very dynamic, just fantastic. The different kind of almost Magic the Gathering kind of lore and the different factions that come into play really allows you to kind of mix and match, but also play down one particular track of Magic or race or of creatures and things like that. So the deck building of this was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Really a great game to get to the table. Ascension, the deck building game, because back then you had to say if it was a deck building game, because that was still new. Yeah. That was a new thing.
Throw it on the end of all of these, right? The deck building game.
The deck building game. Did we mention it was a deck building game? Like, no, it's a box full of cards. What else would it be? Like, a deck building game. Just like, okay, man, calm down.
Oh, it's great. All right, number 8, and ironically, a game that does not have the deck building game in the
Oh, wow.
title, despite inventing the genre.
Yes.
Dominion.
I've heard of it.
Yes, so it's at number 8 this time. And this game has been developing and releasing new content for years. It was the Spiel des Jahres winner in 2009. It was a Board Game Geek Hall of Fame inductee this last year. We talked about it in our Hall of Fame episode. It designed and developed and taught us how to deck build, right?
It did.
To play the game, you're going to pick out different types of cards. They're going to go into different piles that will be available for purchase. You're going to start with your own deck of cards, and then you're going to play them out, have the currency available, purchase a new card, add it to your deck, go on and so forth. At a certain point, once you have enough currency or things to do with your deck, you're going to start buying point cards. The duchies and estate and province cards, and these are going to help you move towards the end of the game. And that's basically it in a base level. That said, there are a dozen or more expansions for this game that can significantly mix it up, right? That's the core level of Dominion. And you can add 400 different layers on top of that. There are thousands upon thousands of different card combinations and ways to play this game. It's why it's still very popular. One of the best deck builders around to this day. Still recommend it. This is one of the few games of this type that I can actually bring into a classroom and teach students because it's so simple and direct and straightforward. Like, put your cards down to buy something, pick a card, add it to your deck, someone else's turn, go. Right? Very quick. So that's Dominion, number 8.
Remember when they said that they were going to stop making expansions? It was done. And they kept saying it while they kept making more and more expansions.
Yeah. Oh, man. Every game ever. Yeah.
Every game ever. Exactly. All right. Well, let's... our number 7 is Trains. Now, Trains is really interesting because back in the day, if you were a board gamer, the thing that board gamers did, or I should say tabletop gamers did, is they played train games. And train games was like the gravity well of the tabletop gaming, board gaming kind of universe. And like, you were not a cool tabletop gamer unless you played a train game. So again, all the different 18XX games, all the other Age of Steam, like the really heavy kind of Euros. But for some of us out there, at the beginning of our gaming career, way back in 2012, there was a game for the rest of us, and it was called Trains. And it was about building trains and laying tracks in Japanese cities. And you could play a train game without having to sit there for, 10 or 12 hours to play a game or burn your brain out. So Trains, again, building up these trains and these train tracks, which is interesting because at this point, all the cards were out there and available, but obviously you had to have the purchasing power, but you were laying tracks. You were building routes. It was route building, train building, with deck building as the main mechanic to play with it. This also had multiple expansions that came out with this, and it was just a very fun game to get to the table and really enjoyable. And again, it challenged way back in the day, did not stay that way, but it did challenge way back in the day Dominion. But now, these days, more than ever, when you're looking for what the modern implementation of deck building is, it typically comes along with a board. And Trains kind of did it first, and back in the day especially, it did it best.
Yeah. All right. You talk about games with the board and deck building. Number 6 is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Ooh.
Which is exactly that. It's a deck building game in which you use the travel icons on your cards to send workers out to the board and take actions. That said, you only have 2 workers, except for one very special asymmetrical power from one of the expansions. But you typically only have 2, and so you also have to build a deck and therefore a hand that's going to allow you to do other things, right? You're trying to move up the research track, you're trying to buy more items, you're trying to research more artifacts. There's a lot of things you're trying to accomplish. So the worker placement part is almost secondary to everything else. You're going to do a lot. You get some resources, you explore different parts of the map. But your cards, the order in which they come out, how you manage the fear cards that come into your deck, which happen a lot of the times when you go out and explore the board, those are all going to impact the way in which your deck is built out and the way in which you're able to go out and engage with the board. This game came out in 2020, right alongside another game, which Chris is going to talk about just momentarily, that use a similar approach of like you're building a deck, you're using that deck, you're using your cards to send workers out to manage the icons, to gather the resources, do all these different things. But at the end of the day, everything you do is dependent on how you manage those cards, how you manage that deck, which is why Lost Ruins of Arnak is such a big hit. On 4 expansions now, Big Box just came out, lots of good content. So Lost Ruins of Arnak, number 6.
Nice. Well, as you mentioned, Anthony, back in the day, as I talked about earlier, Ascension was challenging Dominion, and Lost Ruins of Arnak, its challenger was Dune Imperium. So much so that you couldn't have a conversation without mentioning both at the same time.
Right? It was kind of annoying, actually.
It was like
they're very different games.
They're very different games, people. And they're like, no, one or the other. You can't like both. You gotta like one. Pick one. I'm just like,
they both have worker placement and deck building, therefore they are the same game. Like, they're not the same game. They're the same game.
So there was a lot of the conversations about that way back in the day. And again, this was another really interesting dynamic. This came out from Direwolf and from designer Paul Dem. And it was, at least initially, conceptually, did not seem like at all it was going to work. Because again, Dune, this really heavy, crunchy, cerebral IP mashed together with the people who brought you Clank. How's that going to work?
I don't want to go back and pull the clip because it'll make us sound bad, but we made fun of this. I mean,
you got to make fun of this.
It was pretty silly. Like,
that's pretty
really?
silly.
It's such a big swing. You're just
it's a very big swing.
We're going to take on Dune. You're like, no, you're not. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like Disney taking on Star Wars and then somehow producing Andor.
Right?
Right?
Out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. They could have done all the other things, but rolled an at 20 and they did the right thing.
And then doubled down and paid for the second season. You're like, what are you doing? I mean, yes. Good, but what are you doing?
100%. So Dune Imperium, again, you got deck building in the Dune universe, which is a lot to go into. But again, you're building up your deck from these different factions. Once again, you have some military actions. You have some buying power actions. And you're playing your cards to the board to allow you to do different things as far as take control, gain influence, and to do the military battles that happen on the main board. So it's a very dynamic, fun game to play. Obviously, there's been multiple expansions. There's been a re-implementation of it with Uprising, which is also incredibly good. So whatever version you play, you will certainly enjoy the deck building of Dune Imperium, unless a Lost Ruins of Arnak fan is nearby. Then watch out.
Right? Then we have to fight, even though I have both on my shelf literally right next to each other.
Same.
Both in the upgraded fancy boxes. All right, next up at number 4, we have Slay the Spire, the board game. I just talked about this with the Downfall expansion coming out. And this one's a little bit of a cheat because it's based on the best deck building video game, right?
Sure.
So, of course, we got deck building, we got a video game. But consider this. I don't think without Dominion and the other early deck building games, we would have a video game like Slay the Spire. I think those core concepts were developed on the tabletop. And then video games were able to take that and expand it in ridiculous, crazy ways that you couldn't do at the tabletop because it would be a mess. The Slay the Spire board game boils it all back down into a simple cooperative system that is just, I don't want to say infinitely replayable, but I've been playing it a lot. So there's a lot here. I'm excited they're going to keep expanding it because that's what you do with the deck builder. You expand it. And just to be able to keep playing this and try out different factions and go on different adventures. Wonderful, wonderful game. Slay the Spire, the board game.
Lovely. But not as lovely as my own obsession. Anthony, of course. You know what we're talking about, man.
Victorian England.
Our number 3, Obsession. The board game of Victorian England, as Anthony said. It's all of our obsession about dealing with very, very fancy people and sometimes very... naughty people, and they have money, but they don't have manners, and they don't have good reputation. So as you build up this tableau at your estate that allows you to throw different events and parties, and to manage and to use different workers for actions to activate those different party rooms, that's only part of the game. The main part of the game that really comes down to is if you're going to run those parties, you need people. And who are these people? Well, these people come in card form. And here's the deck building element, because throughout the game, you are going to be adding more gentry, all these different people, normal gentry and then fancy gentry that come in and they have more and more active powers, but they can only be played based upon certain reputations on your board. So your deck building is really dynamic because you start with family members that can be played at any time and don't require any helpers. But as the game moves on and you gain more and more powerful cards into your deck, they need a lot more assistance from the household staff, and they give you a lot of different benefits throughout the game. So while the tableau building is happening, really where it comes down to is the deck building part of the game. That's obsession. I'm really obsessed with it, Anthony, because it's our number 3.
Number 3. All right. Next up, number 2, we have a game that is the deck building game. Star Wars, the deck building game.
They brought it back, man.
They brought it back. They did it. I was dumbfounded when this game was announced because it came out in 2023, just a couple years ago. And I feel like we had left behind the quote unquote the deck building game.
We did, yeah.
Like 5 years earlier, maybe more. Like definitely pre-COVID. And now we had the deck building game. And you know what? It is Star Wars, but Star Realms, but Star Wars, right? So it is a 2-player game in which both factions are vying to purchase the cards in the center row and then ultimately destroy each other's bases, right? Sound familiar? Yeah, it should, because it's basically Star Realms. But it adds a bunch of new interesting mechanics. My favorite mechanic of which, of course, is that you can kind of sniper and ping out the cards from the center row so your opponent can't purchase them. Like, oh, that card's helpful for you. Like, okay, well, I'm going to bounty hunt it or whatever you want to do there. It has a lot of really cool elements there. I like the element around like the bases, choosing which ones you want to put out based on like maybe they have less health, but they're more powerful in the special ability that they give you. That's a really cool element. And it just, you're not necessarily just trying to take down the health overall of your opponent. You're trying to get through this short deck of bases that have come through. So Star Wars, the deck building game, it's very quick, it's very direct, it's very easy to play, 2-player only. The first quote unquote release for this game was a standalone with the Clone Wars, so not a full expansion. There is an expansion floating around out there that hasn't been fully released yet with new cards. This is the Mandalorian faction pack. I don't know when this is set to come out. I don't think it's out just yet, but I'm surprised they haven't expanded this further, but I'm also not surprised because we're talking about Fantasy Flight games. So, and kind of the mess that they are. But yeah, one of the best deck building games around. One of the best 2-player deck building games around. Yeah, and yes, Star Realms is out there, and this kind of fills a similar spot. Like if you want something more generic, if you don't like Star Wars, play Star Realms. Of course, it's amazing.
Yes.
But for the Star Wars fans out there, which is both of us, we have Star Wars, the deck building game.
It's far better than it needed to be.
Yes.
Like they could have just done like, oh, it's the deck builder Star Wars cards. You're like, yeah, I'll buy it. I don't care. And it's relatively inexpensive. And again, it's our number 2 because it's one of, if not the best deck building games out there for all the reasons that you said, Anthony. Really, it's just fantastic.
Yep. If I just want more it's been 2 years. We're just now getting our first expansion pack. Yeah. Like, why is there not a lot more for this? Eventually, this is going to fall down the list because there's not more content. But beyond that, it's amazing.
Very good. All right, Anthony. Well, that leads us to our number 1 of the top 10 games with deck building. This was a hard pick. There was a lot of great games in this list, a lot of great games that use deck building. But what our focus on here of all of these great games is, of course, the deck building, because playing the cards really matters the most in this particular game. And when it comes down to it, the specialized cards that come into play, whether they're minor powers or major powers for your particular spirit, are essential for success. This is Spirit Island, Anthony, because again, you're not only just playing the cards for their special abilities or activation, how the cards work off each other based upon the symbols on the side, but also these cards are there to support your allied spirits in their endeavors as well, because the cards could also take a slow action or a fast action. So that's a little bit different and dynamic, but also, again, as I said, they're also helping your fellow spirits do their things that they need to do. So this is a deck building game that's not just about your deck, but it's about everyone's deck at the table. So this really brings it up to an extra dimension of deck building, because not only are you trying to build the best deck for you, but also the best deck that serves everyone's purpose, collaboratively, cooperatively towards this kind of like massive deck of like, my deck does this, which works with your deck does this, and kind of bounces off each other. And again, hopefully leads you to victory to push off the invaders on the island. This is Anthony, Spirit Island from 2017.
Wonderful game. Yes, and a highly curated deck builder. You're not building a giant deck, cycling through a bunch of cards, but every card you do end up adding to your deck is very important. You have to manage it very carefully.
Yeah, there's no chaff, which is typically, especially in the older deck building games, was just like a very big game mechanic. Like, these cards are good. They're situational, but they're all good.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot of expansions out here, and you definitely, it brings back that legendary feel a little bit, Anthony, because depending on the spirits that are in play, you're going to want to organize and play your deck a little bit differently.
Right.
Because you might need to do so. So again, if someone's rolling a lot of slow powers, maybe you want to bring in that Thunder Spirit to kind of boost them up so that they could play their cards a little fast, a little earlier in the game.
Right.
Well, there you go, everybody. It is, in fact, our top 10 games with deck building. It's one of the most fantastic mechanics out there in tabletop gaming. I love it. You love it, Anthony. Hopefully everyone else there loves it. And hopefully no one's forgotten about it. But if you did, we're bringing it back, brother. Hardcore. Again, check out these games. We're sure that you love them. And if you're looking for more of the pure deck building games, jump back to episode 155, where we talk about the top 10 deck building games, pure deck building games, although they do have some other elements to them as well. Until next time, this is Chris.
Hey, and this is Anthony.
And we'll save you all a seat at the table. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Hi there, I'm Hugh from Poderation. If you like today's show, why not check out Dungeons & Dragonfruits, the bizarre, strange, and queer in every sense of the word D&D podcast. Join 5 friends as they laugh, learn, and adventure their way through the weird, wonderful world of Widdershins, where dragons hatch from trees and have adventures of all forms in every shape and size. Available wherever you can get your podcasts.